Welcome back to Radio Disney.
Radio Disney.
I'm your host, Willy Wiley Willa Wombat Bow, and I'll be your host for the next half hour. So, kick up the tunes and eat some prunes. Let's get into it. My good sir, sire. We should do one episode in just Cookie Monster voice.
That'd be hard.
Like Kevin.
Hey, I'm Kevin.
I'm Kevin. And I like cookies. Didn't sound like a Kevin at all, but it sounded more like Cookie Monster, actual Cookie Monster. Cookies. Yum, 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 yum. Did you watch Sesame Street as a kid?
I did. I
didn't. What did Dwight say? Isn't that show about those kids in the barrio?
Yeah.
No, I don't think if I did, I don't remember it. I think if I did watch it, I was really young and small.
Yeah.
So
I know that I watched it, but remembering episodes, like specifically,
yeah.
I remember more of Reading Rainbow. I watched Reading Rainbow.
Yeah. I remember.
Darkwing Duck.
Definitely. Because when there's trouble, you call DW.
Darkwing Duck. Better watch out, you
Get
bad boy.
dangerous.
Yeah, that one was a good one. What? Goof Troop?
Goof Troop. Darkwing
Bop, bop.
Yeah. DuckTales.
Ooh. Rescue Rangers.
Yep. Rescue Rangers. Chip and Dale. When there's danger, oh no one never fails. They'll take them. Had that going on.
I wonder if like the people who did songs that were famous, like little show songs,
Yeah.
if they still are doing that today.
I don't know.
I mean, I wonder if they got paid per episode of it coming out.
I doubt that. If anything, they probably got
Like
paid
royalties off of it?
Yeah, I doubt they got paid any royalties because I think they were probably just kind of like a
Freelance type deal.
yeah, it's like, "Oh, hey, you're a singer, you can sing, but you're not in a band or you're not Madonna." So,
And I guess too, if they do musical pieces for that specific show, it probably was somebody already in the organization maybe that had that talent that was doing it already.
yeah.
I mean, that would make sense. Why pay somebody else outside when you already have somebody inside?
Well, you have people that are like professional musicians, they go in and they go and play music. Even, like a hired musician, because there's people that write their own music and stuff, but they don't have a band. So if they want a tour, they just hire people to come play their music while they're on tour.
That country band I went across Texas and he toured and everything when I was doing their photos and I was on drugs.
Yeah.
He would pay the band from the locations that they lived.
Yeah.
And he would pay them,
Yeah.
$200-$300 to come play.
Yeah. That's
for a
several
night.
people. So I figured with people that write jingles, they probably get paid per song.
Yeah. And then it's just, that's it.
There's probably no royalties or anything because, like with Chip and Dale's, since that's what we're talking about, I'm sure Disney.
Not the strip club.
Yeah. I'm sure Disney
just
owns all
clarify.
the rights to that music and everything and all of that. So somebody probably came up with the lyrics and then, okay, let's hire some, musician to come in and make the song, and then we'll hire somebody to sing it.
Like that. Now, it was a TV show, so I don't know how much truth was inside of it, but the movie show 2.5 Men, where Charlie Sheen played it. That's what he did for a living.
Well, that's probably true, though. I'm sure there are. I'm sure somebody gets paid to do that. I mean, somebody's got to come up with those songs for the, for the intros to movies and all of that. They can't just continue to pay, like NCIS. I think they used a song from The Who, so I don't think everybody can do that all the time. So
they don't have the budget for it.
Yeah. So you got to come up with some sort of.
So I'm just gonna get Charlie Sheen's money on the beach by writing ditties. What if that's? Which I guess people. There's always ways to make money.
Yeah, I think if I could go back, that's what I would do. Not be a jingle writer, but just be like, all right, I'm going to get really good at this instrument, and then I'll just be a hired musician and people can hire me to come in and record. And lots of people do that when they do record. Yeah, lots of people hire like bands, like big bands. Like our guitarist really can't play the part the way that we need it to be for like production value anyways. So they just get somebody that can play better than them and they record the part and they play it just live on tour and everything.
Really?
Or they'll like teach them that part. And they'll have to learn it. It's up to them to learn it everything. So
that's lying.
So maybe they didn't play it on the album, but I think some musicians probably they need to learn to swallow their pride, especially like if you have like two guitarists in a band. And maybe one of the guitarists is just a little bit better, or they're just a cleaner player as far as like recording. It's not to say that the other guy can't play what was written. He just doesn't play it as clean as the other guy. Yeah, he's just stupid, and he's cut off his hands because they're useless now at this point.
What would have been the path? What would have been the path that would have gotten you to where you would have chose to do something in that field of doing music stuff?
Had I known when I was like in school.
We still didn't do an intro.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
We're so terrible at that.
Yeah. We'll just
hey
whatever.
Guys.
We'll throw it in there.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Had I known in high school that I could have went to a school for music.
Yeah.
Other than just like band, because that's all I knew. That's all that was kind of presented to me. I was like, oh, I could get something for playing the trumpet or the saxophone or anything like that, which, I mean, that's just not what I was into.
It's cool and all, but I like girls.
Yeah. My bad. I can't help it. Of course, there are some crazy band camp stories, so maybe I missed out.
Apparently so.
Maybe I missed out on something good. I don't know. Either way. Yeah, had I known in high school, or at least even like growing up, that like, oh, well, hey, there are schools that you could go to for guitar or something like that. Because my view and idea of it was like, okay, if I want to make it in music, then I've just got to be like a killer guitarist and be in a great band or something. And then that's how I'm going to be able to get into that industry, But I think hindsight, if I could have went back and known that, then I think I would have not so much strived to be so much in a band, but just tried to be a solid, good guitar player. And that way I could have just made it in the music industry as like a musician.
Like pursued the actual music and field instead of like a strict has to be this position type.
And if somewhere along the line like I was in like an actual band, then that would have been cool and everything. But to just be like a studio guitarist or something like that, or even somebody that they hire you to play like gigs and all of that, I think that would have been pretty cool. I think that would have been something more interesting to me, because it would have been like, oh, hey, tonight you're going to be playing some rock and roll, and then next week we just need you to come into the studio and knock out these couple of solos for this this guy that he's writing some music, but he needs some solos on his records.
Probably would have got to meet a lot of famous people too.
Right? Yeah, it just would have been cool because you just would have been like known as like a solid guitarist, and he's like, yeah, he's real good and he knows what he's talking about as far as like music and everything. So
there's a guy at my old church. He actually played the bass on the worship team, and he said his next door neighbor is some famous guitarist, and he actually taught him bass.
Oh yeah,
and that's how he started playing bass for us.
Huh.
And he was just learning, but he was picking it up pretty good. But the guy like played for Dolly Parton and a bunch of other big names and stuff. And that's kind of what he did. He would, if they needed a guitarist or whatever, he'd go and play.
Yeah.
But he got to meet and play with a bunch of famous people. just because he was,
Right.
good at that one thing, and he like mastered it. And so people would come and find him, famous people, because, finding someone solid is kind of hard to do.
Right.
I mean, even on worship teams and stuff, it sometimes can be very difficult to find people who are solid that will like show up when they're supposed to show up.
Yeah.
Or, play what you ask them to play.
Right.
It can be very difficult.
And a lot of that too, because it's I know, some people are gonna. I would have liked to have been, if I was to go that route. I would have wanted to be somebody that is more rounded as a guitar player, like with, I can play several different styles.
Right.
Whereas like right now, nothing's keeping me from learning different styles, but I mainly just like to focus on more like rock and heavier stuff and all of that. So
it doesn't really fit into Amazing Grace.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazing Grace.
We can make it work. It work.
A guy that he's the drummer. They switch. He's also going to be start doing a lot of the media stuff. He sent me a video that was that type of music for Reckless Love.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I've never heard. That's pretty cool.
It can be done. You just got to make sure that you got to write the music right, because anybody could just like, let's just put it to some guitar distortion, and it's like it doesn't just work like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's got to be done well.
Yeah, it's got to sound good, or you're just gonna sound like some trashy local band. People are like, yeah. You're good.
Hey, you did wonderful.
Good job, Dave.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs way up. You did marvelous.
Marvelous.
So I guess we can say hello.
Yep. What's up, guys, gals, and everything in between?
Welcome back. There are no in-betweens.
Yeah.
You bunch of perverts.
Guys and gals.
I'm Steven.
And I am Giuliano.
If you can't tell by the talking points that we have already discussed a little bit, we are going to be talking about chasing your dreams.
Chasing them.
We all have something. Well, I'm sure we all have something. Probably 90% of the people who are going to listen to this or watch this on YouTube. By the way, check us out on YouTube, The Bearded Cactus, or thebeardedcactus.com. Boom. Shameless plug. We end up in places in our lives with jobs. Work situations that we were like, man, if I would have just taken this step in this direction,
would have done that.
If I would have maybe pursued this when I was younger.
Right.
And the truth is that you're never too young to start working on a dream.
Unless you're about to die.
And then just...
Unless you're in hospice.
Run from the light. Don't dream too much.
Yeah. That's the last thing you want to do is dream.
Don't dream of lights.
Maybe you just want to have a... daydreams.
One last dream. Yeah, not really asleep. He's kind of...
I can't tell. His eyelids are kind of cracked, but...
I'm watching you.
I can still hear everything that's going on.
Dad, are you awake? I'm always awake.
I haven't slept in 13 years.
The Nazis are coming after me.
Remember that night John Mark and I kept you up?
Yes, bunch of jerks.
I never sleep.
It was stupid Wolverine, and they wouldn't.
And the Punisher.
And they would not shut up. And did I have to go to work the next day?
You had to go to work the next day.
I just wanted to watch the movie in peace. And I was like, you know what? Why am I staying up for this crap? They wouldn't shut. They would not shut up.
We wouldn't.
Like over and over and over. And then they start laughing again.
I never sleep.
John Mark was house sitting for these people, and so he invited me and Julian over. So I was like, okay, well, I got to go to work, but that's fine, whatever. Yeah. And they wouldn't shut up, so I was like, all right. I went to bed so mad. I was so angry. I was trying because I'd never seen it before. It was kind of like sitting in the room with you and Nikki trying to watch Dumb and Dumber. It was the dumbest mistake. It wasn't working well.
The only difference is we couldn't quote the movie.
Yeah,
we were just
quote your own selves over and over again.
We were quoting what we thought the movie should be.
Yeah, and they would not stop. So I went upstairs and went to the little bedroom and went to sleep. And man, I was ticked off. I was so mad. Oh, man, it got me.
That was good stuff.
I went and had some dreams.
Yeah.
About murdering 2 idiots. They wouldn't shut up during the movie.
And I don't think it's like... I think maybe it's not too late to chase dreams. I think over time, you're going to have to change up what your dream is.
Yeah, adapt it a little bit to your current situation.
Yeah, because I don't think it's a good idea to be a 72-year-old and be like, I've always wanted to be a doctor.
Or I've always wanted to go for president.
Yeah.
It's never too late to dream, Julian.
It's always, I think it's...
It's always too late.
I think it's always too late.
Go back to sleep, Joe.
It's to quote the late great Mitch Hedberg. He's like, I'm sick of chasing my dreams. I'm just gonna ask them where they're going and meet up with them later. Yeah, at some point, some dreams are gonna be dead. You know, you're just gonna have to be like, you know, I lost. I lost both of my arms. I'm probably not going to be bench pressing the world championship weight.
Or never jump roping.
Know?
You got feet? I guess that's a squat, though.
That's leg press, but the opposite way.
That will count.
Yeah.
If you can find a thing to go to your feet.
Somebody needs to do. Why has no one done that? Why has nobody like laid on their back, sat on your own back?
You got some serious
back.
issues.
Yeah.
If you could do that.
Laid on their own back, and then like put the bar on their feet and push it up. That's an idea.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I need to see that. Well, we need to do that in the gym. It'll be like a gym fail. People are like, what? As they pass by, what the heck is he doing?
I don't think there'd be a safe way to do that without smashing
you need like some sort of contraption.
I want at least one more kid.
Because you might like snap your ankle or something.
Or do it like
it starts bending backwards. Ah!
And then you cut to where it's closer up with the weights on both sides and people are lifting it as you're pushing it. And then cut back. And then if you could have a phony one that's like made of like rubber or something like that fall.
You could do a close up of like you've got shoes on your hands, but you got the cutout so your hands can grab the bar. And you just push it up like that.
Get some of Tristan's old play shoes.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's really impressive.
And then just put it back in his closet. Just to go put your play shoes on. What happened to my shoes? I guess the dog's got it.
Dad!
I don't know.
They've got really good precision with their teeth. They just cut them. They cut the sole straight out. That's just weird.
Perfect cut. It's not even like a gnaw or anything.
It's almost like they had knife teeth.
They used a box cutter?
Yeah. But
I told you their teeth are smart. Their teeth are smart.
Their teeth are smart.
Smart
teeth.
They
it's
can
like
go where they
Bluetooth.
want.
It's Bluetooth.
Smart teeth.
You can either change your dream or change your other co-host.
Did you just call me a whore? Change your dream, whore.
Or,
change your co-host.
Co-host. This will be a different podcast.
I was listening to the one we did. I don't remember what it was about. Maybe how to talk to a woman, and he was talking about sliding pesos across the table. She buys it with her one tooth. That's baller money, girl.
There ain't chocolate in the middle of that.
I laugh at ourselves all the time.
I do too.
Okay, so both of us really were very inspired. Our lives were kind of wrapped around music.
Right. Very into it.
Very into the music. Even though you made fun of Creed, like it was still music.
It was.
But
I respected Mark Tremonti. He's actually a really good guitarist. As far as the other musicians, I don't know them well enough to say.
That's right. You don't have a clue, bro. All right. And so I really like I guess rock star and actor was what I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So my dream was kind of a big dream.
Yeah.
You know, rock star. There's not a whole lot of people do that. But I have for years now in some form or fashion. Actually, I guess since we were in high school.
Yeah.
Or actually, I guess since I was 6, been on the worship team because my dad was always the pastor.
Yeah.
He always had me play drums. And then ended up working up a few years ago, about 6 years ago, to then worship leader. And I've been doing that ever since. And every church that I've been at, which has only been 2 in the past, 7 years, that I've ended up leading worship.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm getting to do, and I'm getting paid for it.
Right.
So it's technically my profession.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. I mean, I really wanted to do it when I was younger. Like music was like my passion.
Yeah.
And people. I love people. And then God put me in positions wherever I went to where I can be fulfilled in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool thing. Like, I think a dream, the purpose of having a dream is to be fulfilled. Like, you have that because you have that inner desire.
Right.
Like, you're wanting to do something. Whether it's you're wanting to make a change somewhere, or you're wanting to be on a platform and leading other people in something else. Like, when I go to a concert, it's a really cool experience. A lot of people are jumping around and being crazy and having fun, but I probably look like a stick in the mud, but I'm not. Like, I'm being still and I'm just watching them perform. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Just to like watch and like, because I'm like, man, that's awesome.
Right.
And so I really understand like that level of like admiration for that type of position, and really blessed that God has raised me up to that position, because I mean, I don't deserve it. I'm not good.
Yeah.
I guess there's just a lot of dumb people around me that aren't that great either.
He's amazing. Wow.
He thinks so good. He sounds like Timberlake.
You know, Bobby Timberlake.
Over there in Jacksonville.
He's sweeter than Alan Jackson.
Yeehaw, cowboy.
No. Looking back, it's interesting. I think I don't think I was willing to go through so much of like the hardship to get to my dream at that time. Whereas now I'm more like, it would be worth it. I should have, it would have been like, I should have just, stuck with it.
Yeah.
Or I should have just dealt with the crap that was going to come along with it, or just tried to figure something out. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know now, sure, it's a lot easier just because we have so much information and ways to go about doing stuff now. There's more like information out there on how to do certain things. Whereas, before that, there was none of that, at least not in my case. You know, I didn't have the internet at the house or any of that. So I didn't have access to all of that good stuff. All I saw were like, man, how did these bands like do it? As far as like what I knew was just like, oh, okay. It's just a group of guys that knew how to play their instruments, and then they just started getting together and writing music and stuff and all of that. I was like, man, that's what I would like to do, but it was hard to find people that wanted to play the music that I wanted to play. So there was a lot of missed opportunity on that part, just because it was just like, I got nobody that wants to play the music that I want to play. And then like when you're 20 and then like one of your favorite bands, they're 18 and 19, and you're like, how did these guys get together and they already got a record deal and they're doing tours and stuff?
Yeah.
Like they just got out of high school, or they dropped out of school to do this. And now, now still like years later, they're still making music, and they're 15, 20 years in.
It kind of makes you question everything.
Yeah. It's
like what could I have done to get there?
Right. Like what and then some of it's just, it's just coincident. Like, oh, well, and to be fair and honest, it was just, I think a lot of it does have to do with where you are, as far as like your town or where you grow up, because some people, they just don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
There
could be a lot of great talent in one town and nobody ever hear about them.
Right. And then there's you go to like somewhere like LA or a big city, Dallas or something like that. Okay. Well, then you're in a school with, a couple hundred people in your graduating class. Odds are, and then not to mention the grade above or grade below, odds are you're going to find somebody in there that likes the same music that you do. And, you've just got a better chance of networking and making those connections in a bigger city. Whereas like, how many were in our graduating class? Was it even 100?
I think it was 120.
Okay. Something like that. And then I'm the only person that I knew.
I was in the top 119 for sure.
At least,
yeah.
At
least.
Somewhere in there.
I don't mean to brag or anything.
Oh, somewhere in that mix.
Yeah.
Just to.
You know what I'm saying? That's that baller money.
I ain't trying to flex, but.
Holla, holla. Pop, pop.
Oh, shot collar. It's a baller.
Baller.
So, there was no one that I knew in our graduating class that played the style of music that I played or liked.
It was really
play.
rare.
So,
but a lot of them were pregnant though.
Do we have a lot of pregnant people? I knew
it may have been like right after school, but they ain't married though.
These babies are coming from somewhere.
How did that happen?
Babies?
Probably from your demon music.
Babies making babies.
You impregnated people and didn't even know.
Oops, I did it again.
Pregnant.
You. Everybody's getting pregnant. Daryl, you're going to be expecting. with that, there's that. And so, like, a few years, like, down the road, it was kind of like after school, I was like, all right, what do I like to do? Of course, I like to play music, but I'm still in the same town. So trying to find people, it's still pretty hard to do. And if I want to play with somebody, then I'm going to have to go outside of this town to be able to do it. And
to be recognized, too.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, if you're in a small town,
yeah,
there's not a lot of venue.
Yeah.
And if it is, it's bars and people that don't really matter.
Just
being honest.
Yeah. So
no offense to anybody out there watching in a bar right now because we're on bar TVs.
You're on bar TVs? We're on bar TVs. We finally made
bar
it.
TVs.
I want to be.
Take that Coca-Cola.
Hopefully, this is my dream now. Is that when you go to a gas station and the little TV's playing, that we're playing on that TV. I won't be gas station famous. Who do I need to talk
to? Everybody sees gas station stuff.
Everybody.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be right up there with the word of the day.
Boom.
Booklet.
It's coming.
It's like a book, but not.
So is that your only dream?
No, I've got several dreams.
Like what?
I mean, okay. One of my dreams that hopefully will get fulfilled one day. I would like for it to be fulfilled, you know. I would, and this happened like before I met Kelly. So I got accepted to a Luthier school, which if people don't know, it's not Lutheran.
That's what my first question was going to be.
It's not Lutheran. It's not Luther. I'm not a Lutheran.
Are you sure? Did you check the website out?
I don't know. They just accepted me, so I was like, yes, I'm going to be somebody.
Yeah. Thanks, America.
You'll be signing my checks.
Trump did it again.
So luthier, guitar luthier is basically you build guitars. You know how to build guitars, you know, acoustics, electrics, all that stuff. And so there's a school in Arizona called Roberto Vin.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
And so they take like 30 people or something around there like every semester, and they have like 2 semesters a year. So like 10, 12 years ago, I mean, it was obviously more than 10, but 12 or 11 years ago, I was like, I'm going to apply because I really want to do this, you know.
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, and so I ended up getting accepted and everything. And then, like, I was like, okay, awesome. This is great. I mean, they sent me, like, an acceptance letter and all that. And I was like, I was pretty, like, stoked to even get that. I was like, heck yeah. And I was like, yeah, a dream about to happen. I was like, you know, man. But the thing was, like, I got a grant, but it didn't cover, like, the whole school.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to have to live. I'm going to have to be able to live while I'm up there. Because it's like a 6-month course, a 6-month school, and then after that, then, you know, they could either, a lot of them get set up to work in just a guitar shop, you know, like, say, Gibson or, you know, ESP or
Guitar
something
Center,
like that.
yeah.
Guitar Center. So, which you could do that.
Hey.
Or you know, or you're trained and stuff now, so now you can start learning how to build, like, your own stuff. Maybe you can make your own, you know, guitar company.
That'd be cool.
You know, so that would be pretty legit and dope. And I was like, yeah, that's eventually what I want to try and go towards, you know, even if I'm, you know, you're not going to get as big as, like, say, Ibanez or something, but people, if your quality and everything is
too small,
good,
bro.
Listen
too small.
Listen here, though. If your quality's good and everything.
You'd be the Bizarro.
And you, that could be. But you build those guitars, and then people are going to play them. And so what you end up being is kind of like kind of like a niche market, and people are still buying your guitars. They're just not manufactured in mass like, say, Ibanez or any of that is. So you're still making money, and you're still being able to live and make a living off of it. You're just not like this crazy like famous. And plus, since it's every guitar is like a custom guitar, then you can charge like $2,000, $3,000 for every guitar and everything. So if your quality is
once
good,
you get
you don't want to try and charge
recognition
that,
and
right.
you
don't want to try and charge that for a piece of junk.
$15,000.
I got a block of wood
pine
and some
wood.
strings on it. This is just rubber bands.
Custom.
Yep. You keep stretching them if you want.
I got them from the mail lady.
She just drops them off. It's crazy. It's crazy how it works.
That's instant profit. I'm not supposed to tell you that, but it is.
Shh. Trade secret.
I'm an honest businessman.
I just want to be honest. The Lord bless me.
That's $500 more.
I'm gonna bless you. That's more knowledge.
Honesty policy guaranteed. $500.
Guaranteed.
Well, see, my other passion that I stumbled into, but you remember, I think we've touched on this before, about I always had a camera.
Yeah.
Always was taking photos, even if they were stupid, of myself.
A lot of those.
We'll talk about those.
Floating around.
Anyways, which is funny because now I don't take photos of myself at all. I love taking images of other people, but I don't like...
Now you're not so self-absorbed.
Although I vlog sometimes, but I haven't done it in a while. But see, vlogging to me, though, was different because I was speaking to somebody.
Right.
In my head, anyways.
Head,
like, that's how you do it. Like
you imagine something.
Yeah, you actually look at the lens. So if it irritates me when I see people vlogging and they're looking off at the screen at themselves. I'm like, dude, stop looking at yourself and pretend like you got somebody in your face. Right there. Yeah. But the whole photography stuff, I did not... For one, I never thought I could. It never crossed my mind growing up that I could make money at photography.
Yeah,
never even crossed my mind.
Right.
I mean, people have photos everywhere, and it never dawned on me. I'm a slow
They're
learner.
in magazines and everything. No, I never thought of that too. I was like, man, how do these people go to concerts and take these pictures? Lucky. You must be a good friend.
Yeah.
Must be a good friend.
And so this whole like concept of making money at photography, and more specific, to make a living at photography, I never thought that I could.
Yeah.
And
especially even watching Spider-Man, and he took pictures and made money.
Never crossed my mind. So you have to be Spider-Man to make money taking photos?
Well, that's lame.
Oh, I could never do that.
I'm scared of spiders. I would never get bit by one.
He'd have to chase me down and get me.
I am a little too overweight to be wearing spandex.
Well, because then my... I call them my investors, also known as my parents. They came to me, and when I talked to people, like when I first started, like, yeah, I had some investors come and say which was true, but it still was
true.
A blanket.
It's technically true.
Technicality all over that one. And she was like, just pick out what you want, and because they had seen some of the photos that I would take, and I didn't know the rules of lower thirds, and do you know what that means?
Nah.
So on a image, you can put a grid on it, like a tic-tac-toe grid.
Like on the camera, or what are you talking about?
The cameras actually will put a grid on there. You can put it on there.
Okay.
But the whole lower thirds or thirds is when you have it split up in slices, and it's like a 16:9 or whatever. Mm-hmm. You don't always put the person in the center. You can put them off to the side, and it adds more room over here, and it's more pleasing to the eye that when you take photos,
rather than just like straight on.
Right. It adds a new dimension to it that wouldn't have been there if you just had them, shoulder to shoulder in the image.
Right.
And I was doing this whole technique.
Yeah, without knowing.
Just because it looked good to me. I had no clue that I was doing something that was more like biblical. And so I got my camera. I started taking photos, and so I started taking photos of everybody. I probably should do it more when that new Canon comes in. I am. Mm-hmm. But my family gets annoyed with me because those are from the phone. I think the ones in my office are some in there, and I have a lot on my Instagram of Tristan. The whole process of doing this, I was taking a photo of my dad, and I did he was talking to somebody and laughing and looking. It was a great photo that I thought. Yeah. It was perfect, really good exposed. It was over here. And if he listens to this, I hope it doesn't hurt his feelings, but it kind of deterred me a little bit from doing portraits because I said, hey, Dad, I was really happy with the photo. I brought him in there. I said, hey, Dad, look at the photo I took. And he said, tell me what's wrong with it. That was his first response. Not good job, not anything like that. And I'm like...
Sounds like me.
I was like, nothing. Nothing's wrong with it.
Nothing's wrong with it.
So he hurt my pride.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand that. He thinks it should be in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, that proves that he didn't get that gene.
It didn't come from his side anyways.
It well, and I didn't.
Thanks, Kim.
And well, seriously, later I found out that my mom, when she was in high school,
she had pictures taken of her.
She was the school photographer. They literally built her a dark room so she can do that. But she, I think, through that she got a full ride scholarship to college.
Somebody gave her a ride to college?
Well, they were trying to, but her parents said no because she was supposed to do hair, be a wife, or a nurse. I think is what
That's what they had planned for.
And so, which is not. But then
Did she ever do hair?
No, she does her own hair.
She ever be a nurse?
She's fixed some boo boos before.
Was she ever a wife?
She's definitely a mom. So it was kind of a passed on passion that I didn't even realize that she had passed on to me. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. That's pretty neat.
But the whole like portrait thing, that was like my goal. I even bought an expensive light for a studio and stuff like that. And then my mom suggested, because this is what I hate about doing portraits and stuff like that and family stuff, is because they want to move around the schedule so much.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, something came up. Can we move it to... And so you clear your days and then you end up with nothing, no work at all.
Yep.
And so in that time was when my first wife was getting discouraged with me because I wasn't having the work, but I was holding on to a dream. Fairly, I was holding on to a dream. But then my mom suggested I tried real estate. Yeah. Which was not even close. It wasn't even on my radar. Right. It was not the dream I had. I wanted my own studio where people can come to me, and I do headshots and things like that, do family portraits, whatever. And it just kind of formed into something else. But I think that is one of the major discouraging parts of having a dream, is that when it's not coming about like you think it should, or it doesn't show up on your doorstep like you imagined it would. Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't live here no more. Yeah. And you shut the door. Sorry, no one home.
No one home here. Sorry, dreamer dead.
Sorry, no.
Dreamer dead.
No. And so I quickly realized that real estate was kind of the ideal thing to do. And now I teach it on YouTube. Like I really enjoy even the editing process, which I enjoy on portraits too. But real estate's steady income and good money, but I had to adjust my dream, which is a hard thing to do. Yeah. Because I really wanted to stick with you know what I wanted to do. That was in my head. I was gonna do portraits. Yeah. And it would not work out. And I'm like, what is going on? Why can I not? Yeah.
I'm good at it.
Yeah. Like I didn't understand. And I think because me being a Christian, I feel like God wanted me to do something else. So I mean, that's fine with me. Yeah. I mean, I'm being able to provide for my family, and I'm getting to do two dreams that I had in my life, and I'm getting paid for both of them. I don't know the formula of how I made it happen. All I know is the favor of God is the only thing because I mean, living on the street in my car, and drugs and everything. A lot of me wanted to pawn that equipment to get more drugs, but I didn't. Yeah. For some reason, I held on to that in my guitar. But it's never too late to dream. And when you do dream, or you're thinking up a plan to make a dream happen because you have a passion about something, you need to give room for the dream to grow into something and mature into something that will stick. Because I believe that all of us have these passions in us because God has placed them there.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I mean, for sure. We have, like, I am the type of person I like, especially when I'm at work, like, I don't like just learning one thing. There's some people out there that have been in like the same spot for I don't know how long, years,
and they're fine with that.
Yeah, they don't mind just like same thing day in day out. But that's probably they probably realize that's not where they get their fulfillment, and they look at it as just a job,
just money coming in. Yeah,
anything that they want to do, it's kind of like a means to an end, so they can do whatever they want outside of work. I don't know what everybody does outside of work. So
drink.
They may be living their life outside of work, who knows, and be like, I've just got to come up here for 8 hours. All right, whatever. But but even that, I don't look at the job I have as like, oh, this is my dream job. It's like, no, it's not my dream job at all. Definitely not. It's not like something where I wake up every morning, I'm like, all right, this is what I get to do today, you know? Most times it's like, so bored. It's so boring.
Yeah.
But
Same thing over and over again type deal.
Yeah. And so my way to get around that at work is let me learn everything that I can learn. Let me learn as many different positions that I can. So when they need somebody for that position, whether it be for the day or 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, then they're going to look to me and I can be like, yep, I'm going to go do that. And then, I got out of that spot for a little while. And so I'm constantly doing different stuff.
Switch it up, yeah.
So it's all the same stuff that I've already learned, but it's not the same thing day in and day out. So
that's an important thing.
That's how I combat that.
An important thing too, when dealing with a job that you're not necessarily fulfilled at or that you really enjoy, is switch up the mode.
Right.
Get things, because when I was machinist, then I showed interest in wanting to learn how to weld.
Yeah.
And it was just like stick weld. It wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, I come in for a couple hours before 7, just to learn how to weld with the big boys and practice on regular iron and how the heat draws up the iron and stuff like that. Really, I don't remember what it's called, but it was really thick. Mm-hmm. But it was industrial. You know what that stuff is. But I thought it was really fun. Like I even bought the long sleeve shirts, and I had my little helmet on and stuff. And I was like, man, I'm cool.
All right.
And then they trained me in the back for the cable shop. And so there was the cable shop, there was welding, and then there was machinist. And so all these 3 different things, it gave me a good range, but I was willing to learn, even though, and I'm very, not complacent, comfortable wherever I'm at.
Right.
So I enjoyed doing it. Even when I had to get, it sucked, and I would, you do the whole bragging thing where I got up at 3:30 this morning. What did you do? You lazy person.
Yeah.
And
I do that.
It's like whatever. I got up at 3:30. You think you're up early at 7?
Would you wake up at 9? I'm already done with half of my day. Jeez.
So I did the whole thing, and it was like we talked about being a man. Like that was a point of pride.
Right.
My pastor, he's always like, yeah, I'm an early riser. And his brother does the exact same thing. Because he used to be a state overseer. And he would always say in one of his speeches, he'd be like, hey, I'm an early riser. And his brother does the exact same thing. I asked him what early was, and he said like maybe 5:36. I'm like, oh, I'll do that. I said,
ain't early.
Maybe he said 4:30 one time.
Started.
And I was like, what time do you go to bed? I said like 7? No.
I think old people got to go to bed at 7.
He's a little
poor guy.
I don't think he's senior citizen yet.
It's not your fault. It's your parents.
It's your parents' fault.
It's your parents' fault. If they would have just waited a little longer, you would be younger right now.
But I think a big thing to feel like you have the room to get a plan of attack.
Yeah.
To try to fulfill a passion.
Yeah.
To fulfill a dream.
Yep.
I think you need to start enjoying where you are first.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then you won't feel so drained. If you're happy somewhere, you can work, crazy.
Yeah.
And then come home and still be tired, but you still have that extra energy for something else because your day wasn't that. But like if you have a bad day, it drains you for some reason.
Yeah.
Like
but
mentally.
Also at the same time, I think being content, I think finding a place of content, not contempt.
Contempt.
There's that impt that confuse people.
Little devil's imps.
Find some contentment at where you're at and be like, okay, I may not like what I'm doing, but how can I use this to get to somewhere where I can be happy with what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good to be miserable where you are or not be happy where you're at. I think instead of staying right there, to use that as a driving force to use that to get you where you want to be.
Yeah. So what would you say to somebody who is maybe feels like they're stuck at their job and they're wanting to move out of that and do a pat or I see it in your eyes.
What are you talking about? What? Finish your question.
I thought maybe you had some insight on what you can do, or are you that person?
I'm currently that person.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm currently that person because it's kind of like where I would say for like the past 2 years, like I've just kind of been going through the motions, not knowing what I want to do. Just feel like, just the wheels are spinning, but I'm not going anywhere. I've got all this drive that's in me, but I'm not sure where to focus it because it's just like, okay, what do I want to do now? You know, because it's like the things that I like truly want to do, it sometimes feels like, okay, like I'm not going to be able to at this point in my life, like right now, I'm not going to be able to just drop everything and go to that school for 6 months.
Right.
You know,
Can you do it online or no?
No. You got to be there because I mean they got to teach you how.
They
to
can't
do
just
all
send
that
you the
stuff.
wood in the mail.
Yeah. Good luck, guy. This is a manual. You just got to read through it.
Look it up on YouTube.
This is weird. I don't like this. If you got a question, figure it out.
Yeah, that's it.
So, in which, looking back, had I just been like, okay, had I been like, because now I see people when they take like vans and they make them into something that they can live in for a little while or something. And I'm like, I should have just done that. I should have just got like a ratty van and just made it to where I could have a bed and then whatever, just toughed it out for 6 months. And I would have found food somehow, you know.
Hey,
I would have figured it out.
It was in Arizona?
Yeah. It would have been hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been hot. But and the thing with that was, like, I had an apartment, like a free apartment set up, so I had a free place to stay because it was a schooling based apartment complex. So if you could prove that you were a student or something like that, then they would give you a place to stay.
That's cool.
And so I had that taken care of. The only thing was I didn't have a way to live. Yeah, you know, and the school was like a full-time school. So
you could have rented out your apartment and stayed in your van.
I could have. I should have done that. Ooh. Well, now you tell me.
You didn't ask.
Where were you 12 years ago?
Orlando, I think.
Yeah, you were. So I'm not going to be able to do that. So my dreams are either going to have to be on hold, or I'm going to have to change how I can accomplish it if I wanted to pursue that as, you know, a dream. So I'd have to change the way that I do it, or I'm going to have to find a new dream.
My brother, I think last or the one before Christmas, from my parents, asked for a homemade guitar kit to make your own.
Yeah.
Have you ever done anything like that?
I've never done that, but I do all my own work on my guitars. So
I wonder if you can get the kits.
I've messed around with the electronics.
More expensive ones and sell them. That's kind of doing the same thing.
No, you can. Like, the thing with that is, like, you get a kit. Basically,
is it limited what you can do?
Well, it's not limited what you can do. You can do anything with it, you know. Like, if you wanted to change the headstock, some of them come with like kind of like a blank headstock, sort of shape, and then you can whatever shape you can make out of the shape that they give you. Then you can figure something out. But I think the thing that comes in with that is, with a kit, you could make a kit guitar look pretty cool. I've seen some done. Yeah. The thing with that is, it's usually not the best work. You know, it's not like a custom guitar, so you're going to have to do extra stuff, like as far as like making the frets and everything smooth. If you want to invest in putting good pickups and humbuckers and all that stuff in there.
So could you do that to get started and then add your own special stuff?
Yeah, no, definitely. I could definitely do that.
Like a good starting point.
Yeah, but so that would be good to say, like, okay, like Les Pauls are very popular style looking guitars for sure. You could get those, and then you could get it as expensive as you want. Yeah. The thing with that, it's hard to get that and try and sell a kit guitar for as much as you put into it, because it seems like you're always going to be losing money on that. You know, because if you buy a kit guitar for, say, like $300, but then you put $200 worth of stuff into it, and then you're gonna have to say, well, it's a kit guitar, you know. And they're like,
do you have to say that though? Like, it's still custom if you do. If you're putting extra stuff.
I don't know the rules.
What if you just go chop down the own tree by yourself, but you use a chainsaw that's in the shape of a guitar, and you push through it, and if it's this big, it'll do 6 of them.
Punches it out like a hole punch.
Yeah, it'll do six of them all the way out. And
that's what a CNC machine is for.
Yeah.
So
that's what you need to tell your wife you need.
Yep.
CNC machine.
For sure.
Get John Mark to run it.
Yep. And see, here's the thing with that though. With that, like I'm limited on space, and that's where I always like seem to run into a problem, is because I like doing like woodworking stuff. Like I like doing that stuff, like building stuff. That makes me happy.
Do you have all the tools to make whatever you want?
No, I don't, because
it gets expensive.
It does, and I've had every opportunity to say like buy a bunch of expensive equipment. The only thing is I don't have anywhere to store it. So
you already filled that shed up you built?
Because the shed was basically, I was building that shed for Kelly because we just had extra stuff in the house that needed to go somewhere, and it was just taking up a bunch of space, So it's like a storage shed. And I've got some of my tools out there, but, I can't fit all the tools that I would like or need to be able to go out there. So I would have to build something else to be able to store all of that stuff. So it's kind of like one of those things like, I need money to be able to do stuff that I want to do, to make money to be able to do stuff that I want to do.
That's how it always is.
And so I'm kind of like stuck in like a spot to where it's like, do I want to start putting money towards something that I want to do, or do I want to try and get me out of debt and just be like debt free and, free of all, now I'm not going to say all this debt like I'm $20,000 in debt or anything, but just the debt that I do have. Do I want to take care of that and be done with that, and then I can start working on stuff that I want to do as far as
it's a hard thing to do. It's really hard to get out of debt.
Yep.
Just because if you go for a while, and see, when I went to the new church, I got a little bit of a raise.
Yeah.
So my plan was to, I'm going to take back money. We're going to pay huge chunks of our debt down to where it's just a car and a house payment.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, then the washing machine broke.
Yeah.
We had to pay almost $2,000 for that stupid thing. So that sucked all the money out.
Yeah.
Then our air conditioner broke. And all the money that I put back in there again was pretty much the exact amount for all that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my goodness. What? So now I have the church, they only give a certain amount in my checking, and I have them split it and put the other in my savings.
Right.
So we automatically save.
Yeah.
That's helped. But, that's one of my goals is to get debt free. It was going to be by the end of 2020, and then it's like everything happened.
2020 is not a good year, man. It's just a bad year. It's a throwaway year. It's just going to be that year with like kind of like a red mark on it. Like, everybody remember that year? It's just like, no.
What was it? Was it The Office?
Don't want to remember
where
that.
They were doing something like with a car and it was on fire. It was like, this is us in 2021 explaining how 2020 was.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was an Office thing. I don't remember, but it was funny.
Yeah.
So are you gonna promise them this time like you did with your
promise them what?
Apologizing to your wife, remember? And then you came back and said that you did it, and y'all working on.
What am I gonna promise? What's the promise today? What am I supposed to be promising y'all?
That you're gonna work towards your dream, man.
Oh man, I don't know.
6 months down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I got too much.
Really encouraging, bro.
I got too much going on. Look, life is real. And it happens. And so
are
sometimes, sometimes
you have to sacrifice your dreams for your family.
Yep. You have to say, okay, what's more important right now?
Stupid
doing
family.
this or doing, or chasing my dream?
Doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah. And it's not so, and I'm not saying it's my family. Like, it's my family's fault. Because here's the truth of it. So when Kelly and I got married, that was 10 years ago this year. So, 10 years ago, before we even got married, she told me what she was expecting out of a husband and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now, I could have said...
Mexican.
Yep.
Check.
100%. And that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah. Easy.
So, we went down to the rail yard, just the railroad tracks. Like, are you sure? I threw a couple of Jose's and Sanchitos her way, and she was like... You're the one I want. And I was like, all right, whatever.
All right.
Sorry, guys. We only need one.
Let's do this.
But I am building a shed in the future.
Boom.
So
you're welcome.
Here's my card. You guys call me 2020.
Yeah.
And so me knowing the kind of life that she wanted and me knowing the kind of life that I wanted, I made a choice to compromise that.
Right.
Now, had I known that down the road that I would have been like, man, I'm not really able to like follow any of my dreams at all right now.
But you never know that.
Right.
That fork in the road, you can never tell.
No. And I'm not saying that I would have been like, no, we're not going to get married or no, I don't want to be with you. But obviously, if someone can show you the future, you might be like, oh, man, would I change that or would I make the same choice?
All right, kids, let's go to Arizona.
Yeah.
I did that to in Orlando.
And that would have been cool, but Kelly's not that type of person. She doesn't want to move. She doesn't want to move. She doesn't want to do any of that. Like, because I've even suggested like moving to, transferring to a different part of our company.
Like Longview or something.
I think we do have a place in Longview.
Hey, come on now. You hear that, Kelly?
I think we do have
the Lord is speaking to you, girl.
So, but even a move like that, she's just not willing to do. Like, no moving, like, whatsoever.
Well, I hate moving, too.
Yeah, no, I hate moving. I hate just moving.
But I'll follow the Lord.
Houses. And that's the thing. Like, it would have to be like a Lord thing. Like, it would have to be like Joseph and the angel, basically the same situation.
Yeah.
It would have to be that.
Well, see, and that kind of like what I need to see was a lot of reason why I didn't follow dreams earlier in life.
Yeah.
Because like I would wait for and I'm not just talking about
no,
stuff,
I got
but
you.
I'm like,
yeah.
I want the heavens to open up and be like, this is what you're supposed to do. Yes, follow this dream.
Right.
When in reality, I think dreams when they mature, which usually ends up just so happen when we mature.
Yeah.
God knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He places us in places, and I also believe that he gives us free opportunity to make choices here and there.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an accident where I ended up. I do think that I took longer to get to where I am because of my stupid choices.
I would say so.
But thanks for agreeing with me.
I mean, you could have been here a long time ago.
I know, but I mean, I thought about this topic because I feel that there's so many people out there, maybe younger, maybe older.
Right.
I met a lady in my dad's church when he was a pastor in Palestine, and she said, because I had said something about maybe going to college again or something, and she was like, you're never too old to start over, or you're never too old to get a degree. You're never too old for this. And I feel the same applies for dreaming. Like, we shouldn't put an age limit on when if you're not dead, you're not done living.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think some people get to a certain age, and they're like, oh, well, I can't do anything anymore. I'm too old.
I think that's bullcrap.
Yeah.
I think when I start pooping myself, they're going to shoot me anyways because I put it in my will. So it's fine.
As soon as the first turd hits the floor.
Hopefully I don't have an accident.
Like Gosh, it was an accident. No, it's in the will.
It's in the contract, man. Jesse's going to be like, I could get somebody else.
Finally.
A man who won't be home all day.
I'll fold my own clothes, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe a less bearded fella.
Yeah. Respects himself and women. Doesn't have a stupid podcast.
What a loser.
Hey, at least we talked about it at the end this time instead of at the beginning. So she has to listen to all of it before she gets to it.
So when it comes to dreams, I guess since I want to say none of mine. Since
none of mine ever came true.
And it's not because I haven't had opportunity. I'll say that. It's not because like I haven't had opportunity to be able to do it. Because I think if you want your dream to come to fruition, if you want it to happen, it's going to take sacrifice. Yeah. It's just going to do it. You're going to have to suffer through some hard times, through some crap, and
be able to accept that you probably will fail a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like that's even in ministry.
Yeah.
Like you're not perfect.
Right.
You're not going to have it all figured out.
Yep.
If you have an idea, like the leadership podcast I was talking about, he said, go with your sevens. And I'm like, go with my sevens? That sounds stupid. What is that?
I've got 10 feet.
So if you rate something out of 1 to 10, okay, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Yeah.
And he's like, sometimes the best idea that you have or your organization has is like a 6 or a 7. But if that's your best idea, go with it.
Yeah.
And then let it mature as you move along and go forward. So sometimes the plan or the ability to do your dream, you only feel comfortable like, oh, it's only a 5 or 6 or 7. I can't really. It's not a 10 because we want 10s in our life. We want everything to be 10s.
Right. Yeah, that's a definite yes.
Oh yeah, okay, I can do this easy. But if nothing great ever happens without risk.
Right. No, that's true. And I mean, and you've got to you've got to take risk, and you've got to be. I think a lot of people don't have the discipline that it takes. Like back then, I didn't have the discipline that it took to make my dream happen. I just didn't have it, because either I wanted it, and I don't think I wanted it bad enough because I was more worried about partying and having a good time rather than like going after my dream and sacrificing. And the thing with that is like you're gonna like if you get to that point to where you're fully focused on it, then you better be prepared to make some trims and decisions happen because you're gonna either have to cut stuff out of your life or cut people out of your life because if you're just like 100% determined to make that dream happen, then there's going to be things or people that slow you down to get to that. And so you may not have
Those
time.
Are tough choices.
Yeah. And it may not be that these people are bad or anything, but it's just like, I can't devote so much time to this relationship because I've got to make this happen. I want to make this happen.
Those types of things will cap off your success.
Right.
Cap off your dream. They'll keep you from growing. Yeah. Because it'll just put a lid on top of it. And there's no more room.
Right. And like I said, it doesn't mean that it's bad people or people that are like bringing you down or telling you that you can't do it. Yeah. It's just people that
sometimes.
Yeah. It's just like a relationship that you can't put that much time into anymore. You know, whereas once before, like you were able to put a whole lot of time into it. Yeah. I think that I wasn't mature enough back then to go after my dream. I am now. Because I know what it would take. And, we're splitting hairs here, okay?
Twice.
We're splitting 2 hairs. 2 hairs, split.
2 times.
So that's what it is now. Like, as far as just going to that school, that's a dream. And that would be cool, but I don't necessarily have to go to that school.
Now you can go to the school of YouTube.
Yeah. I don't have to go to that school to make a guitar. Yeah. I can learn how to do it. It would just be a lot of trial and error. Yeah.
And you probably can find some online classes like we talked about before about kind of fast tracking. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure and there's that stuff out there. I think my issue right now is I don't have space for anything. Yeah. So
you can't just leave stuff outside.
Yeah, and my equipment that I would need or tools that I would need or a place to do anything. Like I don't have that. Like I don't have an extra bedroom or
you got to build another shed, larger,
a shop,
and more in charger.
I need a shop.
That's what I meant. Yeah. You tell your wife shed, and then it's like 30 by 30.
It's like
100 by 100.
Where would we get this $20,000?
Huh?
Excuse me.
I'm gonna make that's a business choice. You're not on the roster of making decisions.
You're not an investor.
But you can be.
One day only.
17 easy payments at $29.99.
And I've always wanted to have like a food truck, like a taco truck.
I bet they'll do good. They're really popular in Tyler.
Yeah.
And probably Longview too.
I've always wanted.
You hear that, Kelly?
I've always wanted to do that.
In Longview? I know.
That's another dream of mine to do that in Longview.
To live in Longview. I know.
Longview. Maybe it's like if you go in the bathroom and you say it in the mirror
3 times, and then you turn around and Longview's there.
Longview, Texas.
I'm successful.
So,
you hear that, Kelly? Longview is successful.
So there's several stuff. I think that's a dream. That's one dream. So,
dreams are important because I feel they motivate us.
I think so too. I think it's just right now it's trying to figure out what dream to go after. But at the same time, right now I'm also trying to figure out a way to make a secondary income that I don't have to like go out and get another job to do. Right. So that's something that I'm trying to figure out now.
I told you, man, I'll teach you.
Look, dog, I know, and I got ideas. I just ain't giving them out right now.
We ain't telling y'all nothing.
We ain't telling you my ideas. You're gonna steal them.
So let us know what your dream is. Hashtag the bearded cactus.
Boom. How have your dreams changed? What did you go after a dream and it not?
Did you get married and it sucked the life out of your dream?
And so now you're died.
You're died. He's speaking English.
I don't know how to talk no more. Me done.
Me talkie very well.
Wow. Me have degree.
2 times.
In talk science.
Boom. Once again, check us out at thebeardedcactus.com. You can see all of our podcast episodes on YouTube and on any major platform. We are now on Amazon Podcast as well.
And nobody would blame you if you didn't want to listen because I'm a complete mushmouth.
He's a complete mushmouth.
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 Thanks.